What's up guys, my name is Armando from Mondobytes and I'm happy to be featured here as a guest on the Gear Focus YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about some budget lighting options. So without further ado, let's go ahead and begin. The very first light that I want to talk about is this Viltrox LED panel. It's very small, compact, portable, and very slim. Comes in at $31, very impressive light. There's two ways you can power this light. One of them is using a Sony NPF battery, which does not come with this light kit. You can get it with the battery and charger for, I believe, $40, so it's about $9 more, which is not a bad deal. Another way that you can also power it if you don't want to use the battery is by using a dedicated DC input. Again, that is sold separately, but at $31, this thing is pretty impressive. Another thing that I like about this light, aside from it being very slim and portable, is that it's also BiColor. So it goes down to 3300 Kelvin all the way up to 5600 Kelvin, and it's very easy to use. All I need to do is on the back is push on this button and it'll start to flash, and then from here I can change the color temperature. So again, it goes up to 5600 Kelvin, which is very cool. You can see here, very nice cool light, and then I can bring this down all the way to 3300 Kelvin, which is very warm. Now there are some drawbacks. You can only go down to 20%. So this is the lowest setting that you can go. It does get bright though, and that is a bonus. The light is also very soft, which I also like. So right now I have it at 3300 Kelvin. Again, it doesn't go any lower than 20%. 20% is the lowest. Kind of a bummer because I know sometimes even 20% can still be a little too bright. But you'll see here, it's still a very nice soft light. If I were to kind of have this on the side, I can use this as a kicker light. I can even use this as a key light also. So this does get pretty bright. I'm gonna go ahead and just change the color temperature here to about 5200 Kelvin, which is what we're balanced here at. So now I'm gonna go ahead and go from 20% all the way to 100, which you can see, it gets pretty bright. Add a little bit of diffusion, even though it is soft, you still wanna add a little bit of diffusion, and bingo, look at that. Now something else this light comes with, which I think is pretty neat, is this little shoe mount that you can use to mount it on top of your camera. So on the bottom, there's a little 1/4-20, and you can just mount this directly here, and then this little shoe mount, of course, goes on top of the camera. And of course, you can use a light stand to put this anywhere you want. So overall, I've yet to see a light that offers so many features for $31. So this next light that I want to talk about is one from Kane TV. This is the P20R. It comes with this little nice carrying case, and it also has a bit more accessories inside. You'll notice that we actually have a little wall outlet so we can connect it directly. We don't need any batteries, even though it does take 2 Sony NPF batteries. Now the biggest thing you'll notice with this guy compared to the one from Viltrox is it's a little thicker. It's about 2 Viltrox light side by side in terms of thickness. Still portable and very lightweight. It's pretty much made out of plastic. Another thing you'll notice is on the back side, there is an area for 2 NPF batteries, which you will need 2 NPF batteries, and they are not included in order to power this if you want to go completely wireless. It does come in a little bit under $100, so I think it's like $98. They always fluctuate in price. Sometimes they're a little bit over, but more or less I've seen them for about $98, which is not bad because the key differences between this one and the Viltrox light is that this is also RGB. So one thing I do like about this light is that you can go down to as low as 1%. So similar to the Viltrox light, you can change the color temperature. This one you can go down to 3200 Kelvin, and then you can bring this up all the way to 10,000 Kelvin. So it's gonna give you this really nice, cool light. So much more variation or range in terms of color temperature. Once again, you can go down to 1%. So this is 10,000 Kelvin at 1%. I don't even think you can even notice that it's on, but it is 1%. Yeah, this is nice, especially if it was completely dark and you just needed a hint of light. That comes in clutch. And then as I said, this is RGB. So when I go ahead and push on the RGB button, I'm able to cycle through many different colors. And this is the fun part. So now I can go from like blue to purple. Let me just turn up the intensity here, green. And it's very easy to use. So you'll see this little knob here, and all I have to do is just turn the knob and I can change the different colors. So on the backside, you'll notice there's several buttons here that allow you to do several things. For example, there's one called Wi-Fi. You can connect this to your Wi-Fi network and also use your smartphone to be able to change the light, which is actually pretty neat, and that's something you can't do with the Viltrox light. You can also buy or pair it with their additional controller that they sell separately. It's about $15, $20, and you have now a controller that you can use to be able to monitor these lights or change it up. There's also a button called Scene, which lets you change or have different special effects. Let me show you. So for example, if I select Scene, now I can cycle through like 36 or 38 different effects. This one is called Lightning, so it obviously resembles lightning. If I go down here, actually it's this one over here, I can set it to TV show. I don't know why it cycles through different colors, but this is called TV show. Candlelight, this is supposed to emulate candlelight. A lot of these I find that they're not really that useful. One of them that I do think is pretty cool is the police light. This one's actually pretty useful, especially if you're filming something where it requires a police light. This comes in very handy because it's very portable. But a lot of these I just find that they're kind of like pointless, like red breath. It kind of just cycles on and off through the color red. Same thing with green breath. It just kind of intensifies and it goes down. Again, most of these I find they're just kind of gimmicky in my opinion, but they're still nice to have in case you wanted to use them. But overall, this light is very handy, especially at under $100. It's one that I would recommend, especially if you're looking to have those RGB color features, and the fact that it also comes with a little nice carrying bag is pretty cool, I think, and it just makes it easy for travel. So this next one is actually one of my favorite ones. It's called the Yongnyo or Yongnyo. It's got a really funny name, but it kind of reminds me of a lightsaber, or also one of those like air traffic controllers when they're directing the airlines. But anyway, it's a pretty interesting light. So there's two ways you can power it. One of them is, again, all of these are Sony NPF batteries, which is pretty much like a standard, or you can also use a DC input, which both methods are sold separately. This comes in at about $80. They always fluctuate in price, and there's also different variations. There's also ones that they sell with internal built-in batteries. I've always heard that this model, the one with the external battery, is the better one. I don't know, I don't have experience with a built-in one, but I will say I do like this one. Very easy to use. There's basically 4 different buttons. We'll start off with this one, which is the RGB, and that allows you to obviously change the RGB colors. And you could do this by adjusting the red, the green, and the blue LEDs, and you can also mix and match. This is also BiColor, so you can change the different color temperature all the way down to 3200 Kelvin up to 5500 Kelvin. You can't really dial it in precisely. For example, I can't just say I want to go to 5000 Kelvin. You kind of have to mix and match, and I'll show you guys how that works. And then you have fine and coarse, which kind of changes the intensity of the LED to make it either fine or coarse. I've kind of messed with that. I haven't really seen a big difference, so I just kind of leave that one alone. And then the last one is just to check the battery level. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on, and this thing is pretty cool. So you'll notice if I go to the 3200 Kelvin, it's at 0%. Now remember I told you that you can't really dial in the exact Kelvin value aside from 32 and 55. Let me show you what I mean. So right now it is at 32 as I mentioned earlier, and if I switch this dial and I go to, let's say 5%, I'm at 5%, 3200 Kelvin. If I wanted something like in between that, I would then need to push on the Kelvin value of 55. So now I switched over to 55. Now you'll notice that the cool LEDs or the cooler LEDs begin to light up. So now I have a mixture of warm and cool. Now this is somewhere in between. I know it's a little finicky and kind of weird. Now if I want to dial in, let's say the warm one down, so now if I turn the warm, now it's truly 5500 Kelvin. Like I said, it's kind of weird, but once you get it and understand it, it works really well. Same thing goes with the RGB. So right now, if I push the button, it turns to red. And now I can only adjust the red values. Now if I tone this down to 0 and then I push the button again, now it goes to green. Now I can only adjust the green values. But what if I wanted something in between red, green? All I have to do is push the button again. Now I'm in blue. Now I'm mixing green with blue. Again, very confusing, but I get this little nice kind of teal look. But you know, once you kind of figure it out, it works really great. Something else that I really like also, let me just turn all these colors down. And that's the thing, you have to kind of reset it and go back to 0 if you want to start using some of the other like Kelvin values. So if I go to 3200 Kelvin, but I want this to be even a little bit warmer, it also has this little cool magnetic little shield, or I don't know what you want to call it, little cover actually. And then now it becomes this orangey look, which kind of has a nice little kicker light. So if I turn this up a little bit more, that looks pretty cool. So yeah, this little wand or little Yongyo light comes in clutch because you can use this as a hair light. So if I turn this up, granted it's probably the wrong color value. Let me actually change it to the correct value, but I can use this as a hair light. I can use this as a kicker light. I can use this in so many different applications, and it's really portable. It also has a little quarter 20. So if I want to mount this above or on the side using a light stand, it's very versatile. I wouldn't say it's super portable, but you can definitely travel with it. Something else I really like about this is that you can also control it using your smartphone. In fact, I find that using your smartphone is better than using their controls. Again, this can be a little bit finicky and it takes some getting used to, but once you figure it out, it's not that bad. But overall, this is just one of those lights that just comes in handy and has actually saved me in a pinch. Definitely one that I really like to have in my kit. But let me know which one was your favorite. All of these lights come in at under $100. And if you guys are looking to get even better deals or more deals on lighting, check out the Gear Focus website. They have a lot of great deals, and you're able to also sort pricing depending on your budget. My name is Armando. Thanks again for watching, and you guys will catch me in the next one. Adios.